posted like this hand wand UV light thing that they, or maybe it was like some advertisement for float centers.
I mean, from what he told me, Ken, like in your HVAC system, for $500, you install it right there in the return, and then it then kills all air. Then I just think you got to move air out of the tank, so it just gets into the the ambient air. So somehow you got to kind of like open the tank and just move the air.
Yeah,
you got a tank being open.
Yeah, at the new place, if you remember, I've got this whole kind of dead hallway that would be a place I could just dump air out of the tanks. Keep it safe. It's a little more challenging in
where you're at now. Yeah.
Couldn't you vent that through the roof then? Couldn't you vent that through the roof then?
Yeah, I wonder. Just a matter of, going above each tank or above each filtration system, popping off one of those drop roof ceilings and seeing what I can tap into up there, or maybe just dump it up there. It's
no. Think about it. If you had something that was far enough away that you could have somewhere on the second floor where you can't really hear it so much, and you had a couple of fans up there even that were pumping air out of the tanks.
Yeah.
Okay. In other words, if you had a connection, a vented connection into each one of the tanks, which you already have, right?
Yep. Yep.
Okay, so rather than having to change anything, you make that entire back area a negative air pressure zone, and then that automatically sucks air out of the tanks without it being really hot and wet and all that stuff.
Yeah, each of these tanks has air tubes in the back, but they just spill into the same room. But I could extend that into one of them into the adjacent room.
The thing is that you could join all those into a particular place where you could preheat the air, but you could bring the air in from the outside. You could pump it into your tanks through the negative air pressure in your back room, and keep your entire frickin' building or that part of your keep your entire frickin' building more or less free. You could repeat that 3 or 4 or 5 places.
Yeah. I can see that with the new place.
Yeah, I'm only thinking about the new place. The old place, I have no idea how you.
Yeah, it's just a commercial building. I'm on the first floor of a commercial building.
Trying to do something in commercial buildings. Whoever builds commercial buildings have no idea what they're going to be used for.
Yeah.
They think it's going to be used for ladies' dresses or something. That's the only thing they ever.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not.
Yeah, but whatever it is, I feel like to ensure people clean air, that got people's attention today. You know what I mean? Delicious Heights is going to be offering clean air for your dining experience. You know what I mean? Just like floating. It's like I don't know. It's like it's going to be one of the next waves.
Yeah. It's interesting. That's right. Yep. People, it's gonna be a difference.
Yeah, because I know everybody's into wiping things down, Cloroxing, Lysoling, but I just think how many more steps can people take for this that, I mean, in any industry, it would give us protection. That's what I'm looking to see, what this next trend is going to be,
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. People.
Ralph, think about this for a second. Let's just fast forward here and say that these boys that are saying that there is no problem have really miscalculated and there really is a problem. Let's just pretend that that's the case.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if it were the case, and in September we're having, like, New York is back to and New Jersey is back to the levels that it was before this started to come down, then wherever that you can say, look, I can stay open and I can guarantee safety here like this, And this is what the kind of innovation we're going to have in restaurants and so forth. You may find that you're in an entirely new field of endeavor.
Yeah, it's funny
Or
that's
somebody that you know is going to be in an entirely different field of endeavor.
yeah. That's really what it comes down to, is how you think about what this next phase is going to be, and in that prep.
Yeah.
It's already in people's heads. I mean, whether we get a wave or not, I just believe, right now everybody's guard is up, so they're going to take every precaution possible. So at least for the next 6 months, a year, I bet you people will want, whatever it is you're going to do to your business, it'll make them feel safer, especially if we get another wave.
Yeah, get another wave, and you're gonna see some people in that are wearing MAGA hats be burning them puppies.
What was that? What was that? Mega hats? I didn't get that.
Yeah, the MAGA hats, Make America Great Again hats.
Oh, yeah, I get you now.
Yeah, they're gonna be using them for target practice for hunt season, maybe.
Yeah, I hope this thing doesn't come back, John. I hope it's, what I'm saying. Also, too, I hope that we can kind of advance on medicine for it.
Well, that would be really handy, but the thing is that this hasn't mutated, Ralph.
Yeah.
The Spanish flu mutated.
Yeah. So I know there's all kinds of,
Okay, from my perspective, I've noticed that when you're driving in particular, being safe is better than being sorry. And it's easier on your frickin' insurance too.
Yeah. I just think that if the world continues at this rate, let's say it does it for another 3 more months, we might be safe, but when we come out of it.
Okay, wait a second. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you have to innovate here.
Yeah.
You can't do the same stupid thing in the same stupid way and expect different results. That isn't going to happen. So we know we're in trouble. So we need to pay attention to what we can do to stay out of trouble. And how do we do that? That's what we need to be paying attention to, not that, oh, I hope it goes back to the way I was. I'm going to go home again. Yeah. Oh, Mommy, come hug me. What do you mean? Mommy, how did you shrink?
What?
Well, time will tell. So let's see what's going to happen.
Luck favors those who are prepared. I think.
Yeah.
That was some old Chinese guy said that. He also said something about the first step of any journey is to back the car out of the driveway. The same guy.
Yeah.
So Ken, where are we on tonight? What's our path here?
Oh, we're talking about differences. I think innovation is a difference.
How's that?
Well, people notice differences. They don't notice same old. The way we're wired is to not have to pay attention to anything and just look for things that are different.
So it's funny in this day, these days, being different may actually help out.
Andy Warhol thought that was true from a long time ago.
Yeah, look at him.
Yeah, he was quite different or innovative.
So was Picasso, and so was Monet. Yep. And Leonardo, Christ, he was an artist by himself.
And then so is what I'm doing here with quantum floats.
Aha, that's right.
It is innovative. I mean, this thing we're talking about, these things we're talking about, these tools we're talking about are not things that people have generally considered before, certainly not widely considered.
Well, it isn't because that they're not available for consideration, is it?
It's not because of that.
It's not. Why is it that people don't consider it?
Well, I think maybe like we didn't consider advances in science until someone said, "Hey, yo, I got a way to think about this that's better than the way you used to think about it. You used to think about quantum, you used to think about Newtonian gravity. Check out these formulas.
But they
These
didn't do
formulas.
that. Is not what they did.
What did they do?
They measured it differently. And they said, you know, when we use these measurements and these calculations, these are the things that the measurements and the calculations indicate. We don't know if they're accurate or not, but would you check them, please? And
Yeah,
that's how quantum physics or quantum mechanics, or what do you want to call it there, was born, was through calculations, not through a different way of thinking about things. Einstein was pissed off that it showed something else.
yeah. I think you said he was pissed off with the thought behind it, not the calculations
Yes,
themselves.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's like we all do when we start actually understanding something about quantum physics, that it exists, for instance. We all make miscalculations because we have no idea what that is. We can't see it, nor can we interact with it. Right? The only thing we can do is read about the reports other people are making,
Yeah.
and then we can make some kinds of absurd comparisons that if that's proven to be this thing, then that thing that is proven to be means this other thing over here must be true like this, that doesn't have anything to do with that. But we do that a lot with things, right?
Yeah.
We assign value to it where there isn't really any value. Yeah? And it's only through seeing differences. It's like one of the things that Ralph was pointing out to George and Jesse last night, was that they're in a different culture. And so they're seeing things in a different form, in a different manner. They're seeing how other people in the world think about those things that they never realized that they thought about.
Yeah. That's true.
Okay, so here's the problem with this. You see, the thing is that when you begin to understand that you have programming, you're pretty sure that programming is a real thing, which of course it is. But then you try to assign your programming and your programming structures to the world, and it's not a real thing like that. Well, it is if you understood the structures, but if you don't understand the structures, then you could make relatively humongous errors, let's say.
Yeah. Like your own formula. Here, this is my formula. It yields a certain result. But
Hey, I'm pretty sure coronavirus is going to be gone in the next 23 minutes. I got right here on my watch.
wait, say it again.
I'm pretty sure that coronavirus will be gone in 23 minutes.
Yeah.
Right here on my watch. Okay, that may be true and it may not be true. Okay, we have to wait till that time to see. Now we can hope that it's true, but we really need to be aware that we're hoping, and we need to know the difference between hoping and understanding something as factual. Just because the president doesn't understand factual things doesn't mean that we all have to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not against anybody understanding that, or thinking about that things the way they wish to. That's fine. But there's at times, thinking about things any way at all requires a word of caution from people who have been down that road and paid heavy prices for it, like I've done. I don't know if you have or not, but I certainly have. I've made some horrendous mistakes in my life.
Yeah. Not me. None.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you're born with that silver spoon in your mouth.
And one up my nose.
Oh, fuck. That's a bad image there.
Yeah.
Funny you don't look Colombian.
Yeah. So there are George and Jesse in a place that is different, way different than what they're familiar with. And the question is how much are you going to allow yourself to see, right?
I don't know if it's allowing or not. Okay, you know, when I took algebra, I really wasn't ready to think about calculus or trigonometry at all. I had a hell of a time wrapping my mind around algebra at that time. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. The first time I read Shakespeare doesn't mean that I was ready to sit down and write one of the Bard's plays. Christ, I couldn't even understand what the hell he was talking about with methinkses and begetses and all the, who knows what the hell that was about? I don't. Okay. And how they interpreted it on the stage was way different than what the book said. So, you know, who knows what that's about, right? So my point here being this is that look, if you see things through a set that you bring with you rather than the set that's there, you'll miss a lot.
Okay. But what's the set that's there?
What's real right now, Ken?
We're in the midst of a pandemic. That's real.
Okay, no, okay, here, let's make it simpler. What's real right now is you're closed.
Yeah, that's real.
Okay, what's real right now is it's costing you to be closed because you still have to make payments and meet mortgages and so forth, and those aren't light.
That's true. That's
Okay.
real.
Okay, that's a real thing, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so at what point do you say, okay, this real thing that I have here is more important than somebody over here who may or may not be safe in his behavior?
What do you like? How to
Well,
balance those two different real things?
yeah, let's go ahead and look at that for a second. Okay, okay, we're talking about Ralph's talking about he's looking into how he can put new fresh air into his restaurant, right? So he can continually bring fresh air in and suck the old air out, which is a great thing, especially if you can suck it up, right?
Mhm.
So past somebody else. If that's the case, then what he's doing is he's thinking about somebody else more than he's thinking about himself. But then that's self-serving as well, because by thinking by somebody else, it's the only damn way he's gonna be able to open his doors. And he's gonna have to convince somebody that he's safer than anybody else.
Yep, that makes sense.
And so if they give him the green light to open and he can show that, everybody around him's gonna say, yeah, Ralph, something right there. He figured this out, which is a good idea. He should. And he should get credit for it.
Hmm.
Now, why is that creditable? Because it's innovatively different.
Yeah.
What it shows is Ralph's specific function.
What it shows is what Ralph,
What Ralph does
what he does as Ralph.
as Ralph, yeah.
Yeah.
It shows his specific function. It shows how you can recognize what Ralph does. It's a demonstration of him doing something. Hermeneutically, it's demonstrating to me what he believes about reality.
Hmm. Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Is that different for anybody else? You think maybe?
No, I don't. It's not different from anybody else, as far as I can tell.
Okay. Then what conclusions can we draw from there? I think now you're a legal mind and you can explain this better than me.
Um, we could draw the conclusion that if you are going to consider what it is that you do, and I know you're using the phrase specific function for that, then how would I do that without being able to um, take a
So
look at things outside of the normal lens that I look at them.
here. I'll give you a lens to look at. Ready?
Yeah.
How many Ken Kaplans are there?
Uno.
There's only the one.
Yep.
Well, is that Ken Kaplan the lawyer? Is that Ken Kaplan the rabbi? Is that Ken Kaplan the tank owner?
Yeah, it's
Depends on what time of the day.
yeah, it's really just one. It's not.
Well, that's the thing. It really shouldn't be all those different
Yeah.
ones there. It really should be just one. And you should have found some way of unifying all of that so that you know more or less what your specific function is. So for instance, when you take on a case or you solve a problem in your law firm for one of your clients, what is it you're really doing? And how is that the same thing that what you do in the tank office?
I agree. That's the question. I know that it begs an answer, but I know that's
Okay.
yeah. I
But
mean,
no, I can't answer that
you
for you.
can't. Yeah, you can't.
No,
I mean, I have.
I,
Yeah.
and no, even if I could, I thought I'm not going to answer that for somebody. What for? What a nasty thing for me to do.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it is a nasty thing for you to do because what's it going to mean if you answer it anyway? I mean, I have to see
I
that's
can pat myself on
only
the back and say I'm wonderful, but other than
yeah.
that, I can't. There's not doesn't do a damn thing.
You
I
figured
tried
out
that.
Ken Kaplan's specific function in life. You know, no, yeah, that's my thing. You know, that's
I do know that.
yeah. I know that even in the law, um, it would be fair to say that there's mm, a rabbi or close relationship with someone to find a solution that's unique to them or helpful to them through it. You know, and I know that's a feature of Ken Kaplan, the lawyer, and so I don't think these days I could be. I don't think that. You know, I think there's been unification of the hats to. You know, I think they're unified. Are they fully unified, John? I don't know. I suspect no. I don't know that B1 is something I'd be like nailed it. You know, it's I mean I know where I've been and where I am, and I can measure sort of where I've been to where I am, but I have difficulty looking ahead and saying, is there more? I have some real serious clues that come up in the things I do and how I react to them that tell me that yeah, there's more there. There's
Okay,
more unification.
we were talking last night about different abstractions, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That there are abstractions that form like color palettes, right? They pre-select the colors that you're going to use. You study the colors. You say these are the colors we're going to use, and then there are preset programs that say, okay, we're going to, when we design this flyer, this is the logo we're going to use, and so there are preset things that go on first, so that when you send out your message, that you have your image also in place, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's demonstrating what to you, the consumer. Unified thinking
Yep.
in that company, yes?
Yep.
Okay.
The brand of Ken Kaplan, for example.
Oh, I hope not. But okay. But
Or
yeah,
John Worthington.
for instance, I like
or anybody.
I misspoke. I shouldn't say that. Okay, but yes, that's true. Okay. Okay, so we've got Ken Kaplan, the famous brand here, and now the thing is that what is it that Ken Kaplan's using to demonstrate or advertise his brand?
The float tank center.
Not so much. It's has to do more with differences, and in particular, it has to do with the, I think, um, a different way that I assemble the world. I think
That was a cheap shot, dude. To go again.
well, that's what we're talking about right here. We're
Yeah, yeah. Okay, but come on. You got to be more specific than assemble.
okay. All right. So I think one way that like what is observable, like what people will say is things like the best language that from the outside is, wow, that's a different kind of lawyer than one I've ever met before. And they may talk about that in terms of being more chill and relaxed, but it's more than chill and relaxed. It's the time I spend, the places I look, in the not just places I look in terms of where the problem or issue that they're complaining about, the source spot, legal problem, or in the float center, how they get along more globally. I mean, I think they're both the same. I don't think, I mean, I know they're both the same in the legal profession and in the float center. But it's like, I'll look in places that I never looked before because I guess I didn't know to look there. And maybe you could say I didn't want to look there too, but I think it's fair to say that probably it's some of both. I didn't know to look in those places before I learned to ob- observe things from a different place in thought. I didn't. I was, let's be logical about this, folks and friends. And, that's where I spent most of my time dealing with things. I think most people do, especially lawyers. It's not just lawyers, but, we're a fairly logical bunch.
Yes, I've heard that.
Yeah.
Some of you are actually too.
Yep.
And then again, okay. And your point is,
My Wait, so, well, I think I'd be to make the point. I have to make sure I understand. I'm back on the track of even what the question is about, what it is that is different, or maybe what's my specific function. Um,
so what are you doing in both places? There's a whole bunch of rabbi everywhere that you go, isn't there?
yeah, there is.
Isn't that the thing that you denied pretty much all the way through?
Oh my God, yeah, absolutely, totally, yeah. Just
Yeah.
like,
Do you feel better now that you're kind of embracing that? No, I didn't say you were hugging it or anything like that, but you were kind of
yeah,
walking with it in place.
yeah, I do.
Social distancing still in play, so I got it.
Yeah, still six
Yeah.
feet, but yeah.
Mm. Oh, is that all? That all? I thought it was like 5 steps or something.
Hmm. Yeah, it is my calling card. So I guess I can say I do feel more at ease with myself and what I do.
Okay, here's the thing about this, Ken. For you to be that rabbi person or that rabbi entity that you see, there are parts of you that you will not ever go back to. There are parts of you that you're done with, that you don't need to go back to check that out again. You're
Yeah.
older now, and so you know better. So you're not going to do that ever. That's
Yeah.
a silly thing, right?
Yep. Yep. That's true.
There are things like that,
Yep.
and you run into them as you go as you age, right? That's not a limit. Fuck, I don't want to do that. Christ, I'd kill
Yep.
myself. That kind of thing, right?
Yep. That's
Like
true.
a couple years ago when I realized that riding on a motorcycle was really a bad idea for me. Okay, and I was 71 and still riding around on a motorcycle on cobblestones. And I thought, John, this could be stupid. And so I sold the damn motorcycle and got a four-wheeler, which is much easier for me. I don't have to worry about balance. Okay, now here's my point. I had to be done with that in order to take on something else, right?
Yeah,
Okay, and the thing I
that's
took
true.
on, the thing I took on was a better idea for everybody concerned. That's the nature of
Yeah,
agreement. I mean, Christ, Sandy can even drive this.
cool.
Hmm.
Yeah, yep, yep. I get the point.
Okay, all right. So then there are things that you have to insist on for you to be that rabbi. That people have to give you respect in certain places, and they have to give you respect. This was the thing that bothered me with George, that he was not respecting you.
Okay, that and maybe then that. Well, it sounds like then I wasn't.
I don't know that you could see it. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm not saying
yeah.
anybody's good or bad here at all. Okay,
No, yeah, I understand.
it bothered me. Okay,
Yeah. Hmm.
to see George disrespect you when you were paying his salary and so forth. I mean, I understand the reasons that he has lots of good reasons for it. I mean, he's not a bad kid or anything. It's just he's blind in one eye, couldn't see out of the other one. It was easy. Okay, and so when you took that cataract or that little patch thingy off his that one eye, it was easier for him to see than. But you know, it was like, you know, George, you know, I know that pirates are cute, but when you're a pirate, you can't be a gay blind pirate, no matter how wonderful the costume is.
Hmm.
You know, that, I mean, I understand that he'd like to be, and I don't mind that, but not, you know, George, do that, find a place to do that where it's appropriate, don't keep it so pent up that it never comes out, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now, was that part of the reason why that he never respected you, is because you never acknowledged that he was gay?
I don't know. I don't. That doesn't.
Did you acknowledge he was gay, really?
Think so.
Okay, no. In what way? So there wasn't any guilt for him, right?
With what?
There was no guilt for him, right?
I think so. I bought him his
Let's find out.
mocha latte caramel and
Yeah.
told him it was
Okay.
the gayest drink ever.
Yeah. Okay, let's find out. Hey, George, you didn't get one yourself, though, right?
No way.
As an outsider, I see George, and I can see he's gay. You know what I mean? No need to
Yeah.
like, hey, are you gay? It's you can recognize. You know.
Yep. Okay, George, are you there? George.
Hold on, let me see if I can undo his. Yeah, now he can talk.
Hello?
Oh, there he is. Hi, George.
Hi.
Okay, tell me the truth. Okay, you've been listening to this conversation, right?
Right.
Okay, so in your mind, I don't care how it is. Just tell Ken how it is for you. Ken doesn't care how it is.
Yeah, I don't care either. Just
Yeah.
straight up kind of thing.
He
Not
just
just
wants
because,
he
yeah,
wants to get a straight answer from this, so that he knows where he is.
yeah,
With you, okay.
for sure.
So, did you feel as though that he didn't acknowledge that you were gay? Actually,
Well, he definitely, like, we talked about it, we joke about it, like, kind of like how I do with my dad about stuff. Like, it's like superficial, right? Like, we would joke about like a Starbucks drink, how it was super gay, and I was like, you know what, it is super gay. It's called like cloud something. It was like cloudy puffs or something. But
wow.
anyways, beside that, like, it does ring true that I don't feel like, I guess, comfortable, or like the without guilt part, especially because I don't feel it often in my life, but like I definitely feel it at like John's place and maybe a few other places. But I wouldn't say I feel as comfortable there with my sexuality as I do here.
Maybe because you've let your guard down there. I mean, you've been growing this last 40, 50 days.
Ralph, no, that don't make excuses for people. It's okay. They can wear it, right? Ken, go ahead.
Yeah, I think, yeah, it's
Okay, so here's what this is what I'm pointing out. Okay, I mean, not that you're doing anything bad. You're not. Okay, you can't see though where he hurts there. You know where it is because you've been hurt there a lot yourself. When you were young, you got hurt in the same places that he got hurt because he was gay. I mean, that's the reason why you were so angry, remember?
yeah,
Okay, that's the same thing he's going through, right? I mean, he's having to go back and say, and it's like that's the whole thing. I had to go back and say, okay, look, I don't give a damn if you're gay. What I care about is, are you human? Fuck you. I don't give a. Your dick can point any way it wants to. I don't. It's not my business.
yeah,
But where you're a human being, it is my business. Now, please act like a human being, and then what you do as a gay man is fine with me. But you start with being a human being, and we have friends here who can demonstrate that and have been doing that for he and Jesse both.
yeah,
And they've been able to observe that firsthand. People saying, "Oh, I see, I can do this differently." Now, the thing is that I don't think that you actually cultivate that kind of a stable of third-party substantiation in your tank office, right?
no, not at all. Yeah,
Wow,
There-
that's gold.
yeah, I think you're saying it's gold in that you can bring in people to demonstrate the point that,
Okay, look, you can bring in absolute idiots who can stop somebody's world by saying, in my life, I had to pay attention to this thing.
Mhm.
They don't ever have to say another thing in their entire life because that thing that they said to that person changed the course of that person's life.
Yeah,
I mean, I see that happen with people all the time. Not because I'm doing it necessarily, because I see other people do that. Other people just stop and say, that I don't want you to do that. I mean, or please, can you think about what you're doing? Maritza did that with George and Jesse. She said, "You two guys act like you're my 15-year-old kid." That stung, but they couldn't deny it because she's looking right at it. See. Now, does that make her special or anything? No, it doesn't make her special, nothing like that. It's just that it was something that she could see that was in her life that she could express. Wasn't that great? That she could express that to a couple of fellows like that needed that was
yeah,
precisely what they had to hear.
yeah.
I think that was wonderful. No, did she get gold stars? No.
Hmm.
No, she just told them what. I mean, she got pissed off of listening to him. I think really, just laid into him a little bit with it, like they
Hmm.
were kids. Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. It does. Like before George went down there, I mean, the arrogance was something I could see, but then he got down there, and within a day or two or three of him being down there, you started to sum up the issue about being human. And that, to me, when you first started to say that, was like, I don't know what the hell you're even really talking about or why that's the issue. It took me a good part of the month of March, if not into April, to really put that one together, how that really was going on. So I didn't have
Okay.
that
Just,
visibility.
just help me out then in the future. What was key to you understanding it?
Key to understanding it, I think, was that beyond or apart, or maybe at a level even more intricate to his belief, was this thought that he's not okay, that there's something wrong with being gay. And with that thought, then that becomes like the only kind of stage instead of like taking a step through or beyond that to say, wait a second, that's just an attribute of who I am. I am a person. And because I'm a person, I'm okay. I'm a person. But he was just, like the biggest abstraction was I'm a gay man instead of I'm a person
Yeah,
who
I
happens
don't
to
think
be
he
gay.
ever got to man. Yeah, I think he just got to gay.
Yeah.
I think I'm gay, and it shut off right there.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't see any place where that for him was stifling or uh, um,
Oh,
preventing.
that's what mom did.
Yeah, that makes sense now.
That's precisely what mom did. Mom said,
Yeah.
"Don't you dare do that again, boy."
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
though he continued to do it, she had served notice.
Yeah. She's like, the world ain't safe for you,
Right.
my
Oh,
child,
so you don't want me
for
to be
doing
gay?
that.
I'm sorry, I am gay, and away we go.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, she didn't know that. Maybe she didn't know that's how he saw it. Or even if she did, she started to try to protect him. Right?
Yeah.
Right. Moms do that.
Yep. You do. Yeah. In the maybe it's the Bob story this week. The teacher talks about how Bob wrote a program to respect his dad, but then points out that um, even driving that program of respecting dad is something that's a bigger abstraction of being, what it means to be a man.
Right.
So, I mean, I guess, that I could take away from this where maybe the string of this began with was a lack of visibility into some things. And I'm not saying I'm bad either. I know you're going to say that for me, but you don't, and I know it's not. It's just that, sometimes I just have to consider things to be able to increase my abstraction in the way I can even look at things.
Well, my dear old dad explained to me one time that there was two ways to learn things. One of them was by experience, and the other way was by other people's experience. I much prefer the other people's experience methodology, having tried out all of my own experience methodologies that
Yeah.
you can imagine, and then some more that I didn't even know what I was doing.
By the way, footnote on that, because I know you, and I've heard you say that many, many times over the years that I've known you. And I know that we talk about knowledge requiring experience.
Yep.
And lately we've been talking about, well, just because something's in the category of belief, don't mean that that thing is actually real. You may believe it to be real, but it's questionable, maybe even highly questionable, whether it's actually real.
Unless you can prove it,
Right. Okay.
that's something else.
Yeah. The prove it.
Yeah.
But experience becomes a part of how do I know it's actually real.
Okay, so you're riding down the highway with somebody that's new to
Yep.
I don't know, Morristown, New Jersey, and you say you say to him, there's a cop that lives right here on this damn corner, and he makes a living by stopping people who do what you just did. And the guy says, "No, I'm all right. I come through here all the time." What's the next thing you're going to hear? That's what you're going to get. Get your butt over to the side of the road and come pay me some money.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what's going to happen then, right? Because that person is ignoring something that's true, right? Now he could have believed that because there are clues in your voice and in the way that you present something as to whether or not you know that thing is true and real.
Mhm.
There are a lot of clues.
Yeah, I think that's right. There are,
Okay.
when you've had that experience.
Yep.
I still wonder though whether the thing you said before about learning from other people's experience. I'm not willing at this point yet, maybe in a moment after you answer this question, to accept that, because you could tell me all you want to tell me about, say, your experiences with, I don't, get, the riding a bicycle or driving a car or driving a tractor, or how women get aroused. But without my own personal experience, I just don't
Some of
think I
those I
can
don't know
learn from
anything.
yours.
Some of those I don't know anything about.
Yeah, right. One of these things he doesn't know about.
Yeah.
Guess which one?
There's a list. It's
You
not,
drive a car. I know you drive a tractor.
yeah. Well,
But
anyway,
seriously though, right? Because what I'm doing is
not really.
essentially challenging what you say about learning from other people's experience.
Yeah, I know.
But yet I can see that I don't want to make the same stupid mistakes, because you've just shared with your experience with me. Why do I have to speed down the road and get a ticket too?
Well, I don't know. You've insisted on that a lot of times, but it's okay with me because I ain't driving.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Well, mostly it's okay with me, except that one once or twice when that motherfucker
Yeah.
told us on my side. I didn't like that at all.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you pointed out in one of the Slack threads today, what I know is that, this experience that I'm in the midst of, if you want to call opening a float center and event experience, is one that is fraught or filled with parts of things that I've had to come face to face with, sometimes
Okay.
beaten over the
Okay.
head with them.
Let me show you where all of those things live. Okay.
Yeah.
Every single one of those things lived in places that you said couldn't exist.
That is so true. That's absolutely true. Yep. Yep. Can't exist. Can't do this. Sorry, Worthington. Yeah,
Nope,
right.
doesn't exist.
Yeah, thanks very much. Yeah. I'll
Hey,
be doing it my own way.
Hey, Kathleen, come over here. Watch this.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, it's really, yeah. Um, that's right. Yeah. Now I find myself in places where I see a lot more things that can exist than I allowed.
Yeah,
Lots more.
yeah. That's what happens when you start to be able to
Yeah.
see things that are different. Okay. Not only that is that as you begin to see things and you sort through, okay, this is something I like. This is something I'm making movement toward. This is something I'm making movement away. Just those very broad brush strokes of movement toward, movement away. Right.
Yeah.
That will identify pretty much where the great divide is. Right.
I it 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 does, if what you mean by that is that those are the probably as good a clues as I'm ever going to get about where there's something that ought to be taken a look at, right?
And so then you can also, okay, so that divides, let's say that divides up that playing field horizontally. You can then also divide it up vertically, right? And you can get down to specific spaces and specific points and specific concepts that you want to address or examine. Now, that's a measuring tool. How many times do you have to use it to know that well, it's like this. A tape measure, do you ever know what the tape measure is going to tell you before you measure something? Not really.
No.
But the tape measure is really effective because it tells you how big something is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that thing that you're talking about here with the folks is a tape measure for how you can think about things if you understand how to read a tape measure. It's an awful lot like a slide rule, I'm afraid.
Yep. Yep. That's right.
And I'm sorry about that. That's the only way I could describe it.
No, yeah, that,
I'm not sorry about it. It took me forever to describe it like that.
yeah. Got that. Anybody else want to jump in here and questions, comments?
You know what I find interesting? So, like in your situation, or I guess anybody's situation, like you were living life, and I guess you ignoring this program, but at some point along the way, something different had to happen to you in order to recognize, all these items. Like something different is happening to George. Something different is happening to Jesse. But what I find most interesting is that only us ourselves can actually say which way we go at that point. Like I'm not sure for you what made you question the difference, why it is that you should be better towards whatever it is, what I'm saying, and make you feel more comfortable. George, all these guys are the same, but
Yep.
something inside us tells us to either do it or not. It's like this moral compass.
Yeah, I think that's true. Although maybe replace moral compass maybe with more like who I really am. Like what's my specific function? Like where like ultimately, what the hell am I doing here on this call tonight? Of all the, if we had, if we rewound 10 years from now, it'd be a typical whatever Friday night of Ken Kaplan, lawyer, who thought the same way about things in a very logical way, and from my beta, consciousness, and now 10 years later, it ain't like that. But a lot of that progression has been about figuring out who I am. Like, what the hell did I really get here? With these circumstances, and what brought me here, and what do I do? Like, like what's my specific function? And then from there, I think I have a navigational beacon, um, because I know that when I resolve things that are consistent with who I am, I'm less frustrated, or I've got more energy, or whatever you want to,
I
stuff
really
like.
feel like it comes down to the energy. Like I don't know where that triangle thing was with like harmony, do harmony, and there was something else. But I feel like when you're not feeling whatever that feeling is, you're able to do a whole lot more. Yeah, be
Yeah,
one, be one. You're not going against all these things in your head, I would imagine.
yeah.
And you're in harmony with these, whatever you're feeling, and then boom, the output's going to be you're doing stuff.
That's pretty much how I think about it too. Yeah, it's yeah.
It's just, I think it's just hard to recognize when you're at these things, and like you're saying, the differences, however they get pointed out, you see a different experience, somebody different tells you you're doing it, you want to feel something different. It's just very interesting that only us, the person, can decide to, what I mean, eat the pie, so to speak, what I mean, like the fiddler dance,
Yep.
and those,
There's
those
an
are rough ways to put it, but like in George's voice tonight, whatever has happened, and John in the beginning days rough with him, but George sounds like grown up, so to speak, in a float world business a little bit, because when we started these conversations, he was a little boy, but now he sounds like a man.
yeah. Yeah. There's an excerpt in this week's reading, something like when the shaman encounters a situation that is frustrating or something like. I'm not sure that's exactly what it is. To most people, that just triggers the frustration out there, and then it plays out like a program. You scream and you jump up and down, and you throw a hissy fit or a tantrum. But if you're exercised, if you can say it that way, or using the tools that we're talking about, you have you could just as well stop and take a pause and say, all right, what the heck's that about? You know, why am I going down this road here? Where does that come from? It's a pretty, for me, pretty different way to do it. I'd imagine that's true for everybody. I mean, that's my experience, was always like, you know, there'd be some outside trigger where I'd allow myself to get triggered, and then I was off to the races in the same pattern every time.
Yeah, and that trigger, I think that's what after trying to discover, you know, how a shaman thinks or whatever, you know what I mean? This different type of logic. I think it's that it's recognizing the trigger and then putting the brakes on before it's off to the races.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
and I do think that comes in all kinds. The trigger doesn't have to be gigantic sometimes. I think it's little
Yeah.
ones too.
Yeah, it's a good question, the one that John asked Pat Jones when he was on a few days ago, because it really gets to the heart of the matter. And I think we've asked even Jesse in the course of the last week this question. The question is, what's the threat?
Yeah.
Right? If I think about that, what's the threat really? You know, that he or she, or they just, you know, said something to me. Really, what's the threat? Because then I can.
Harry, could you put that last frame back up? I guess not.
Yeah, what? Yeah, it's
Breath to Terry.
Terry out there. That last
Controlled follow
slide you
one?
had up there.
The
Just go
controlled
back to the
follow
last one.
The controlled folly one?
Yeah,
Okay,
that was the last one you had up there.
let's see. Alrighty.
That one. Okay. It takes some time to consider this idea, but this is the threat, really, Ken. The thing is that we think that what we're going to do is everything's going to work out exactly the way that we plan it. And the fact of the matter is nothing ever works out how we plan it. There are all kinds of things that are happening around us that affect how we plan things, so that our plans and the reality don't coincide.
Yeah.
That's why every building has an as-built, or should have one, because it damn sure wasn't built the way that the architect drew it. That part's true.
Yeah.
Okay. Most of it probably was, but there are things that were jury rigged or done differently, or they had to change for one reason or the other. Okay, so all of those things that we do like that are called folly. And so what we try to do is we try to control that. We try to limit the amount of screw ups that we make in our life. Okay, and we're constantly trying to say, okay, now I've got the answer to all of the folly, the fallacious things that happen in my life. But the thing is that the best that we can hope for is just that we can control folly, sort of. In other words, rather than standing against it, why don't we get up on it and ride it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the problem that people have, is that it's like, well, everybody wants to be perfect. And they're not perfect. I mean, Pat was talking about that. He wanted to be, he didn't want people to question what he's doing. Well, it's not a matter that they're saying he's bad. It's that he doesn't want to admit that what he's doing could be folly. That doesn't mean it make him a bad person or a stupid person or anything. It could be. So what? Why not control that to the best of your ability?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah.
And if you see something that some loose end of hair that got out of the hairnet, then put it back in the
Put it back in.
net.
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah. Yeah. You could ride the wave and and deal with the things you can, like the loose hairs, and the things you can't. You can't change the tide, but I can ride the tide.
Right. And when it's way up here, up slamming into the buildings, I don't want to surf today. Not now. Maybe later, but not right now. I'll hurt myself now.
Mm-hmm.
I know there are dudes out there who can do that, but I'm not one of them.
I really like that term. Yeah, I tell you, that's resonating with me. Controlling.
Controlled folly. That mean, what else do you do in a restaurant, Ralph?
Yeah. I'm just thinking like the whole process of building a restaurant, a project. Yeah, I can make a great plan. You know what I'm saying? I've got a lot of experience. But I think what I'm really good at is probably controlling the folly because it never goes as planned.
It never does what the plan says. If it did that, it wouldn't be any fun, right?
Yeah.
It wouldn't be interesting then.
I think that's true too. Yeah.
It's just like I've never kind of thought about it in that way, and I think some of us are probably real good at controlling folly because we keep it together or whatever, and then others it causes too much. You know, what I mean, whatever the folly is in their life.
Yeah, that's what I think too. I mean, I think how I think about lots of the stress that comes into the float center or wherever else it is has to do with this concept of people thinking that they can, or getting bent out of shape, or thrown into a tizzy, when they can't control the things they couldn't control in the first place.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that always throws people for a loop when they come to visit me, doesn't it, Ken?
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah.
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 Okay. Well, I'm going to go away. I don't know.
All right. Thanks all. So we'll be back.
As interesting as you are, I'm still going to go away.
All right, go away. Everybody have a great weekend. We'll be back on Monday where we'll talk about, what are we talking about, Terry? Monday.
After differences, we have, I believe, brutal honesty with ourselves.
Okay.
No, wait, yeah, not doing. That'll be a good one.
Doing.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not doing.
Well, that's going to be good because in some sense, it seems that lots of us have been not doing, but the concept is a lot more broader than that, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. But
Yeah.
we've been having a worldwide not doing.
Yep. Yeah. Cool. All right. Excellent. So we'll see. Have a great weekend. Thanks, everybody.
Good night. See you.
Later.
Good night. Good show, Ken.
Thanks.